didn't even pick up Chip into the lineup of the heroes. Even though we know Chip, despite that, after this patch notes, there is a slight adjustment, it's still a really good heroes to be picked up. Do you agree on that?
That is very interesting. I haven't been able to see quite enough of Snapdragon just yet, but not picking Chip just seems like a bad idea. Without
Right?
further ado though, we're going to be jumping into our draft for game number 1. Fnatic Onyx on the blue side, RRQ Hoshi on the red side, and it seems like quite a few heroes have already been picked up.
Wow, okay, there you go. The first ever heroes to be put as a prioritized is Alpha. And you know, if you have King Kong with Alpha, it's gonna be a danger zone. But
Where there
other
is
than that,
light,
they also picked
there are
up
also
Harith as well as
shadows.
Gato Kacha. Great AoE, great going in for the XP lane as well. Now, Arakyoshi, they responded with Valentina as well as Cho. I mean, I know for a fact that you want to make sure that you can actually pick up Alpha, maybe with the Ways of Dragon. You can make sure that you can shut him down for a while, but it's gonna be a little bit risky. But other than that, Xbox with the readjustment as well, you know for a fact that Xbox is also a really good burst heroes that can actually put you down with a lot of damage. So Araki Hoshi, I like the idea being put out here for the draftings.
Yeah, so far so good. With Fnatic Onyx going for the priority on Alpha since Suyo was already banned out, Alpha has been getting a lot more priority because of his ability to fight as early in the game as possible. RQ decided to respond with a bit more of a safe opening by grabbing the Valentina and the Cho so that they have a way of picking off the Alpha, like you mentioned with the Way of the Dragon, but also to deny bigger ultimates with the Valentina. Onyx did take the Gatot and the Harith. The reason you take these together is because the Avatar, the Guardian, is really good at denying Zaman Force away. But with Valentina around, RQ can still deal with that somewhat. And the Hilda we talked about earlier, going to be picked up for RQ.
Oh, wow. I mean, okay, let's take a look on the band side, okay? We already see Araki Hoshi, great respawn coming in, and Hilda-wise, the question is, can they actually time it very right to actually shut down every movement coming in from King Kong? Because again, with the meta from the side of Hilda, the skill 2 is very useful for the side of Araki Hoshi. If you really mess around with all the resources that King Kong needs, that would be really good. On the other side, we do see Onyx picking up Edith, also a really good coming in for the side of Fnatic Onyx PH, and they also have Vexana on the line. More AoE, much more going in control wise for the team of Fnatic Onyx PH right now.
Yeah, Vexana is basically the only real mid option Onyx has left over since Loi was banned out, and Aurora isn't actually very good at dealing with heroes like Cho and Xborg, so having that Terrified maybe handle the Hilda diving on top of you makes a bit more sense, and with the Edith setup, there's good damage potential overall on the side of Fnatic Onyx. RQ Hoshi going to give Skylar his classic claw though. So they are leaning more into late game scaling and just expecting the pressure and hold the early stages with the Hilda and Export.
Oh, I do agree on that. Seriously, Aroki Hoshi so far right now, really good response. It's just how they gonna be able to control all the aggression that will be put out by Fnatic Onyx Philippine for the time being on the early mid. That's the crucial point right now, because we are going to see the fight between Skylar as well as the fact that definitely King Kong will try to mess things around. The invasion, are they going to deny it? Will RQ Hoshi be able to control it wise? And will the help of Edith as well as Gato Kacha on the line, it will boost up even the momentum of Fnatic Onyx. But so far right now on drafting wise, I gotta say both side has a really good potential. It's even up for a while for the respawn wise. The question is, coming into the mid game, who are gonna be able to stand out? But this is it, guys. This is the first series, the big series of our 2-0 bracket between Indonesia versus Philippines. It is going to be RRQ Hoshi versus Fnatic Onyx.
This is going to be a game to keep an eye on, ladies and gentlemen. As we know, the global series right around the corner. So establishing dominance here in the Snapdragon stage is going to set up that momentum you need for the rest of the year. And I think the drafts that we have here exactly suit the styles that Indonesia and Philippines are known for, with this side of Indonesia wanting to go for a little bit more of that early game and maybe set things up, while Fnatic Onyx, we know that they want to be able to take control of that mid game and just slowly tighten the grip around their opponents.
Agree, definitely. All right, so far, so smooth. A great cover coming in. I mean, we do see invasion coming in between Susujin as well as Kyler. Kyler are gonna be in the pick right now. Oh, almost close enough to be tagged out, but with a dash, he still managed to survive it out. And we do see at least Brusco is on the light side. Whatever it is, he'll be able to be backed up. But that was a really too close to tell whether or not RQ Hoshi was able to be taken down our one Kelra. But nevertheless, he'll still be able to hold the ground, and he had to back away to recall himself.
Sujin, it's expected that he's going to be putting a little bit more attention towards the gold lane here, but in the mid lane, Briscoe taking quite a lot of damage himself.
Oh, coming in, and now we do see the first fight coming in by Kurt, taking down Duran first. The attempts coming in from Duran try to shut down Fnatic. Onyx is not gonna be able to do so now. Edok and Rince gonna wait it out for Susujin to be actually hold it out. But this turtle is already in the hands of Kikon, and now they're gonna pushing in for the script itself. Kikon takes out Edok immediately with the Spirit of Alpha. Now pushing straight away to the side of the one and only Susujin, but doesn't manage to put it. But that was already a good win with one kill on the side, as well as the turtle to be taken into Fnatic Onyx.
It is very much expected that Fnatic Onyx should control the early game with an Alpha, Edith, and Gatot Kacha. It's a lot easier for them to take control of objectives, and they just have generally more damage compared to RRQ Hoshi. For RRQ, they gotta hold the early game and focus on giving as much farm to Rince and Skylar as possible, with the Claude being the more obvious. That's why you're going to see a little bit more ganking towards the gold lane to make sure that Claude wins out against the Harith, because usually Harith is the winner here in this 1v1 lane matchup.
Oh, that's totally agree. And here on out, we do see a 1v1 matchup coming in from Kurt as well as Duran. Airborne comes through, and now Kurt's trying to do it damage as much as he could. But I mean, you're talking about fighting off with Duran. I mean, a lot of the mobility-wise, survival and sustainability coming in from him. It's not going to be easy. Attempts coming in from the side of Kurt himself, but he's still not giving up. But he's got to be careful. Along the side of RRQ is going to be Susujin is just overlooking. And it seems that King Kong gets the input as well, and they will deny it as well. Now Rince moving away as quickly as possible before being tagged out. At least a reposition is a good in favor coming in from Arakiyoshi, but they really gotta hold off for a while because the aggression being put out by Fnatic Onyx at the moment right now, it's really scary.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad for Tyrant because when you are on a Hilda, you're usually the one causing havoc and pressure on the map. But because Onyx just has so much early game damage and they're dealing with an alpha jungle, the Hilda cannot actually invade to try and disrupt King Kong. He just has to try and win out a lane priority, which is already kind of difficult against an Edith, so that they can roam and actually stop Onyx from being overly aggressive on other parts of the map. Unfortunately, Onyx not really being stopped by that. They're going to start contesting the turtle in Sunsujin.
Oh, coming in straight with the Spirit of Alpha, pushing in straight. Airborne comes through. Duran trying to push it straight away to King Kong, but doesn't manage to get the kill he's needed. He's not getting a lot of damage, but the turtle has already been picked up and pushing in right now. Is trying to push in, but RQ Hoshi doesn't get the target that they needed. Fnatic Onyx, they're gonna actually get away already. They already got what they needed, but damage comes through from Susujin. Double kill taking down Kirk as well as the side of Brusco. Now that's what is needed coming in for the side of RQ, but at the same time, this is gonna be tough for the side of Team Fnatic Onyx, as at least RQ Hoshi gets the trade that they needed.
That is exactly what RQ Hoshi is looking for, and actually a massive win, because up until now I have been mentioning that Fnatic Onyx should be stronger at this stage of the game. They just have more presence and damage overall, but extended the team fight a little bit too far, and RQ beautifully managed their resources and positioning, playing around the healing being provided by the Revitalize so that they could prolong the fight and then re-enter once Onyx had overextended in the mid lane. Because of that, Susujin now has a little bit of an EXP lead against King Kong, and RQ has even upped the net worth difference. As long as they keep the gold even and Skylar does not die, this game is going in their favor.
Agree, definitely. And a little bit stronger coming in from the side of Darren. This is where no matter how much you try to put out a potential to fight out with Kurt, it's still not enough. And going into the side of Susujin, I agree on the note that now he's actually in a very good advantage. Hopefully, Ara Kyoshi can be potentially cover and control the movement that they are required right now to move in into the mid game. And so far, right now, we do see that Team Fnatic Onyx is gonna actually try to team up right at the top, gonna actually try to give a lot of pressure to Skylar as well as Indo, but it will be denied instantly. Team Arakyoshi, really good grounding, really good coverage right now for both teams. It's really tie up for both of the teams right now.
Yeah, like we mentioned, gold lane going to get a lot of attention to it because if Onyx can unlock Kelra and have him start gaining gold from assists, it accelerates their snowball so much further while stopping Skylar. But RQ not letting that happen.
Oh, they're not letting it happen as well. They're contesting for the turtle as well. Darren coming in for the push of Brusco. Suzuki takes down and get the turtle instead. But at the moment right now, they will be trying to go in for the skirmish. Not done yet. Going in for the push to the side of Rins. Rins had to pull away with Suzuki having so much damage to put out. They had to reposition, but it's a good move. Skylar almost been tagged out. Now Darren coming in for the backline. Dead matter to take down. This is Zaman Force coming through and Rin takes down Kilra immediately. Now pushing on straight. Darren doesn't have much damage and they had to pull away. A really good win, but Super Frizz comes along with the trade and King Kong shuts down Sujin immediately with what cost they have. Even though getting the turtle is a 2 trades coming in from the side of Fnatic on it. But Jiren, he seems like Kurt trying to get as much as kill as possible. He wants to go in for the push, but still, it was a good cause. They still managed to push away without any casualty, but the trade is still the same for Fnatic Onyx as well as Philippine.
Yeah, that trade initially looked incredible for RQ Hoshi. Again, beautifully managing their positioning, but this time it was them who prolonged the fight a little bit too far and underestimated the DPS.
Oh, coming in for a fight as a moment right now, we do see Katokacha coming in, but at the same time, it's not going to pull anything with that Avatar Guardian. Team Fnatic Onyx will be able to pull away for those fight, even despite the fact that RQ Hoshi was not been pulled in. But at the same time, RQ Hoshi, great position, great respawn-wise. So far, they know how to actually have a really good space between Fnatic Onyx, and that's what is needed. Even on the ground-wise, they did manage to actually trade off between the two turrets from the top as well as mid lane. Here on out, Team Aroki Hoshi, at least on the cover ground of the map, is still in their hands.
Even though Onyx was able to get some good kills in that previous fight, remember the win condition we mentioned. As long as RQ Hoshi keeps the gold somewhat even until the late game, they are actually in the lead. And the gold difference right now, very, very small. Only about 1,000 in favor of Fnatic Onyx Philippines. In comparison, RQ will scale way better, and they're gonna play for that timing.
Oh, they're gonna pay from starting. Avatar Guardian coming in for the push. At the moment right now, King Kong had to pull away, but so much damage coming in. But Skylar takes down Sprints immediately and Riz shuts down Brusco. Kara been stuck in the middle, will be taken out by Indo with the Waves of Dragon. But King Kong trying to survive with the Spear of Alpha, trying to move away, but Riz taking out Kurt. And it's gonna be Darren to push in with the last explosion, shutting him down with the sacrificer kill. But that's needed already from the side of RQ just to take down, getting the team wiped out. Desirable in RQ Hoshi hands.
Fnatic Onyx went for a slightly over-aggressive position around the Lord Pit. At this stage of the game, it's understandable. They still have control, they still have damage, but RRQ, I've been seeing their micro movements, and it has been very, very impressive the way that they're dodging Avatar the Guardian every single time, making use of iframes, and Edok as well, finding Super Prince in the backline and kicking him into the Blazing Duet, thereby funneling the entirety of Fnatic Onyx into a small area where Skylar can do the most damage. He also now has the most gold in the game. RQ, with a 2k net worth lead now at 10 minutes, are very poised to take this game if Onyx are not able to find an equalizer.
Now let's see. They're gonna go in straight to the bottom side. Doesn't spot anyone. It seems that Ido trying to find a way to actually go into the backline first of all, but at the same time will be denied by Super Friends, not allowing any extension coming in from the ROQ Hoshi. Lords is marching in, King Kong right at the front side. It seems that Darren will be at the backline. Doesn't spot anyone just yet, but they don't know who they want to go in. Rins overlooking straight, try to pull away, but Skylar takes down the turret immediately. But they deny it. They're actually having a little bit of hesitant, try to pull in into the Fnatic on it. And this is the reason why Fnatic on it having a really good defense wise so far. And Team Arakyoshi, they couldn't find the opening they needed. So at least on the side of Fnatic on it, they still be able to neutralize all the lords and the wave that coming their way.
But they're not able to neutralize the gold advantage. RQ is now controlling the entirety of the map, and they have successfully taken every exterior tower from the side of Fnatic Onyx, leaving only the inhibitors behind. While Onyx is pretty strong as a 5-man death bow, RQ Hoshi's lineup is designed quite well to be able to split up the map and even play for pickoffs. So they're gonna continue doing so and see if they can bait out individual members of Fnatic Onyx. And if they're able to continue doing that, it's going to be quite difficult for our Filipino champions.
Let's see. King Kong trying to find a way to break to RRQ. So far, Brusco just waiting for the right time. The fact that RRQ, I like the positioning wise, they're denying every avatar guidance been put out by Brusco. And that's the reason why it's not in the favor of Fnatic on it every time they go into team fights. So that's the motion where we're seeing RRQ Hoshi positioning wise is very important for their keys. Now, Kara trying to actually bait out ROQ, trying to actually pull them in. And the best part about it is that Team RQOshi, they don't need to worry about anything. They're literally prioritizing on the lane side. As long as they allow those waves come in and keep giving pressure to Fnatic Onyx, it's still gonna be in their favor.
Now, it's a very interesting picture to see here because we typically expect PH teams to always be superior in terms of macro. But because of the draft matchup for this game in particular, RQ Hoshi are taking care of that incredibly well since all of their heroes are either durable on their own or have built-in escape mechanisms so that they are able to split push waves without needing to worry too much about getting ganked. Not to mention that Kirk is the only really reliable form of CC that Fnatic Onyx has. He has to find Skylar, and that is after baiting out a Purify. Otherwise, RQ Hoshi just has so many ways of controlling team fights.
Oh, going in straight for the Waves of Dragon, taking down Kikong. So much damage put out. Spirit of Alpha pushing in, try to give as much pressure, but it's not going to do anything as they push into Brusco instead. Getting double kill from the Rise of Rings, but at the same time, Rings is a little bit overextension, had to be shut down by Kara with the Zaman Force. But at the same time, right here, we do see Susujin going to go in for all the burst that is required, but it's not going to be enough. That trade's coming in 2-2-1, and they're going to push it all out to the side of Kurt, as well as going into Kara, immediately shutting him down, and going in with the power of wilderness, a little bit overextension to the side of Jiren, but Kurt still survive it out. Prince takes down Indo immediately. This Lord is smashing in a really good overextension as giving that advantage to the side of Fnatic Onyx. But at the same time, Susujin overlooking to the side of Prince, but here on now Kurt picks him up immediately as Susujin had to back away, having so much damage, and in the end, the Lord, a little bit those overextension is giving those potential to Fnatic Onyx to reverse this back, the effect into RQ Hoshi.
I really like the decision that was made by RQ to just rush in and try to take out the remaining members so that they could end the game with the Lord. Unfortunately, they went a little bit too far, and Kirk was luckily able to survive with a tiny bit of HP, because if the Eden had gone down, RQ would have definitely ended the game right there and then. With that though, that does give Onyx a little bit more breathing room, but they only have one inhibitor on very low HP to hold on to. Whatever happens, this next Lord must go into their hands, or RQ should be able to quite easily whittle down the crystal.
Right, 81 seconds to go for the Lord. Is it that they will try to actually push those team fights, or will they actually try to go in for the team fights along that Lord lane? But here on out, E-Dog is just trying to overlook, he will try to find a way to actually pick it up. Rinse, a little bit overextension will be denied by Super Friends. And not only that, they're pushing in straight away, giving a lot of damage. They're going to actually push on forward that last turret immediately, but not going to be doing it in a lot of favor. But just need one more push, will be denied instantly by Fnatic. Just one more hit could have actually got that turret, but in the end, Fnatic still giving a lot of pressure, not allowing Arakiyoshi to even come in.
Yeah, Skylar tried to go in with the BMI for one last hit on the tower, but we have to remember, in the patch, they updated the tower so that they are just super tanky if you don't have minions nearby. In the past, a single hit would have actually taken that down, but that's no longer viable. Regardless though, I think RQ are in a very, very comfortable position. Right now, Skylar going to be doing a lot of damage, and because there isn't enough ways for Fnatic Onyx to force out his Purify, he can actually position himself very aggressively without needing to be worried about being CC chained. He has 0 deaths so far, and the Lord is coming up. Fnatic Onyx need this, or they need to at least slow it down. With only one tower standing, if RQ pushes in with this and a Claude, the game is basically over.
It is coming in right now. We do see King Kong trying to push into Duran, but at the same time, a little bit overextension coming to Indo with the Wings of Dragon. Didn't pick up anyone, but Skylar will be able to take down Kerr first of all, and getting double kill to the side of Brusco. Susujin take down Killer immediately, and King Kong, the overextension was done by the side of Fnatic Onyx, will be punished from Arakiyoshi, and unfortunately, they will go in straight into the grounds of this site. Despite the fact Duran had to be sacrificed, but it's already a done deal for the side of Team Arakiyoshi. They will be able to get this first game in the hands of Indonesia.
An unexpected result, but one that we already considered as a possibility. Both of these teams are very powerful contenders, and this is just a space for them to show how well they have adjusted after their respective performances in their MPL. RQ Hoshi, while their lineup is a little weaker in the early game, they were so good at micromanaging dodges away from big cooldown abilities on the side of Fnatic Onyx, so that once that mid game came around, even though Onyx should be,
most of the players have already adapted, and they've already
gave a lot of information to RQ Hoshi to work with, understanding that, okay, this is a lineup that we can outscale with something like the Claude, and then arranging their hero picks to play around that.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. I mean, yeah, I mean, pretty much we've already seen most of the Orthodox picked up. I mean, Harith, Gatut, and those are the things that I think most of the players have already adapted, and they've already learned how to actually counter those combination into the gameplay style. But here on out, this is the second round itself. Let's see what are they gonna actually pick out, as Fnatic Onyx will still, sorry, it's a little bit of a miss of the graphic wise, but RQ Hoshi will be the one to be the first pick. We got banning wise, we got Fanny Cho as well as Loyi has been banned out. On the side of Fnatic Onyx, they still do not allow Jushin as well as Chip to be picked out.
Unfortunately, Red side nowadays has to take on the responsibility of getting rid of Chip, Zusin, and many times Suyo as well. It's not a fun place to be in, but being able to pick combos together does make up for it sometimes. Instead though, Onyx will allow the Suyo through, focusing on getting rid of Khalid instead.
I mean, this is the fine line. Like, it's a opening for you. Definitely, people would definitely pick up Suyo, right? I mean, you're already opening up. It's either you picked it up or you will allow those crucial picked up to give it up by Fnatic Onyx. But once Aroki Hoshi picked out Suyo, how will Fnatic Onyx actually respond? Will they actually use the same typical combo? They will actually deny those aggression being put out by Aroki Hoshi, or will they be a little bit more strategic for their pickings?
Well, now that Suyo has been locked in by RRQ, it is actually safer for Fnatic Onyx to go for the Alpha rather than just blind first picking it before, because in the first place, Alpha started to get popular again in the meta because he was one of the few early game junglers that could actually match up to Suyo in terms of DPS. Interestingly though, they go for a different option. I thought that they might go Alpha Hilda, but they went for the Valentina instead.
Okay, they went to Valentina and Hilda, but we know for a fact that if you have Hilda on your side, it's a really good Roma to give you a lot of potential to give leeway for your jungler. And this is what we saw on Arakyoshi, right? Durin was a menace. He always let Skylar as well as Rins to just no, sorry, Skylar as well as Suzujin to be at anywhere with comfort zone on their own. They don't have to worry much because Darren will always be there to just guard them out and allow them to maneuver and the map itself. But now coming into the choices of Arakyoshi, we got Matilda being picked up as well as Phoveus.
So the reason why the Hilda pick is actually really good here for Fnatic Onyx with the Valentina is because you would typically want to match Hilda with a hero that's hard to kill, right? So obviously Hylos or Gatot. However, both of those have really important ultimates that the Valentina can steal away. It thereby forces RQ into something like the Phoveus instead, which they do eventually pick up. And this will allow the Hilda in the EXP lane to get unlocked a whole lot earlier. RQ has considered this. That's why they go for the Matilda instead, so that they can match that mobility and deal with the Hilda by pulling people away to safety if she goes for the invade. However, with the Joy getting locked in, that's gonna make RQ's job a whole lot more difficult because the two positions that would typically have the best CC of dealing with her, the Roam and the EXP, have already been picked by RQ, and neither of them have a solid way of locking her down.
Oh, this is gonna be tough. I mean, Fnatic Onyx. You talked about how Joy right now has already been into a popularized pool as well after the patch news as well, right? And I think pretty much Joy is one heroes that need to be watched out as well. And this is ROQ Hoshi. They still have a map support that they need to be careful on coming into their choices at the moment right now. With ban ups right here, we do see that Farmis as well as Vexana been picked out to be taken out. Vectris also been shut down by the team of ROQ Hoshi on their side.
Yeah, Fnatic, I really like the way they're drafting right now. It is very respectful and also very smart. Getting rid of the Faramis because the Matilda Faramis combo can be very scary in the hands of a coordinated team, not to mention that Joy's damage is very burst based, so if NetherRealm eats all of it, they won't get to do too much. And the Vexana, which is one of the mages that can actually handle a Hilda or Joy jumping on them if they time the Terrify properly. Aurora, unfortunately, is not quite as easy to do with that. RQ do decide to ban out Marksman instead, aiming for a lot of Kelra classics in the Beatrix and the carry, but we do still have things like the Claude and the Natan open.
Yeah, that's true though. So, doing on the side of Fnatic Onyx, I mean, pretty much they don't really have much to worry because the pool is still open for them. A lot of the heroes that Kara can use, as well as the fact that I think there's a possibility that you can still pick up anyone to actually distinguish as, or even have those individual fights that is Arakyoshi will try to do will not be in the favor of them. But no, are you kidding me? You're picking up Brody? I mean, I know, yes, Brody has been buffed this season or this patch note, but it's not really, it was not really that much of the buff to be given out. The adjustment is not that much on the cooldown. But then again, I don't know, maybe Fnatic Onyx knows what we don't know now, Steffa?
Brody is really interesting because he is supposed to be picked up to win a lane, but due to a lot of changes over the last few patches, doesn't even match up to heroes like Natan, Harif, or Clint, right? Or Bruno, for example. So people just don't really pick him up. He got buffed in the recent patch to have slightly more physical attack growth, but that only helps him out towards the late game. And in that regard, he loses out to heroes like Natan, Claude, Beatrix, and so on. So I don't feel like Brody is that good of a hero, even though I really do miss playing him a lot.
I agree. I mean, again, I think even day number 3, we did saw one of the teams, if I'm not mistaken, it should be on the side of Monster Vicious. I think it's either Monster Vicious who picked up Brody to try and error. I'm not sure on that, but there was a one team that actually picked up Brody, and it was not going into their side. It wasn't actually what I expected, and that's the crucial point. I mean, like, you try to pick up a hero. I'm not sure what they're trying to pull out into the gameplay style. Maybe because of the fact that patch note, they thought that Brody after the buff it will be better to be used. But then again, on the drafting wise that we are seeing right now, 3 of the heroes that have been picked out by Fnatic on it is already a good picks for them. But once they picked out Brody into the mashed up, I'm questioning what Fnatic Onyx is actually trying to put out in the gameplay.
Yeah, unless it turns out that the Brody pick was actually some sort of mistake, because there was a little bit of glitching going on there.
True.
We're gonna wait a little bit on news of that, because we're not too sure yet whether the Brody pick was for real or not. We will update you guys in just a little bit. But in terms of the rest of the pickups, I am actually liking Fnatic Onyx draft just a little bit more right now, although it is actually harder to execute.
Agree, definitely. I mean, we're do truly sorry on the side of the drafting phase bugginess. I mean, we're unfortunately not able to actually capture it for a while, but hopefully we'll be able to get it as soon as possible so that we can actually get a full picture of what is it going to be like into this second round of the first series. Will it be on the side of Fnatic Onyx to be able to control what are the respawn that is required going into ROQ Hoshi? Because so far right now, ROQ Hoshi, let's take a look on the heroes that have been picked out by ROQ Hoshi, right? I mean, they have, I mean, not to say not a good response, but it's those two crucial points where you have Suyo. Yes, it's a meta heroes to be put out, and you have to be careful. But I like the fact that they actually have Hilda to chase him around to make sure that he can actually cover the grounds. And we've seen this already happening in SPS Open Finals. Despite Suyo is one of the metas, having Hilda on the opponent side as a roamer, you will be denied immediately of your movement. There are certain times that it's gonna be crucial for the side of Arakyoshi, how they're gonna actually try to get the resources they needed into fighting at that mid stage of the game.
And they purposely manipulated the draft. Right? Without Suyo on the red side, blue side has to pick it up. You cannot give it over to red side when you have it available. Because of that, they get to have the Hilda first, and they also banned out the Khalid instead of Suyo, so that RQ Hoshi would not have their own early game EXP laner to match up against Hilda and maybe do invasion themselves.
Agree, definitely. And looking on the side of the play style that we saw on round number 1, this is where we are seeing Fnatic Onyx is doing a little bit better on their calculation on what they want to actually portray here into the gameplay. So otherwise, right now, before we even get the complete setup or the setup of the heroes lineup that is going to be into round number 2, so far Fnatic Onyx, I think that if they have what they want into the heroes lineup, and besides the Brody bugginess that we're not sure if they really do pick up, I think Fnatic Onyx will have the good consciousness or even control-wise into this round number 2.
But again, executional difficulty is there. Joy is not really a hero that a lot of people will have practiced recently, though I'm sure that junglers on both sides would have no problem with it. But it means you've got to draft around making space to get that electrifying beat set up. In comparison, Suyo is just a Swiss Army knife. He is ready to go at any time and has so many tools to deal with. Plus, literally impossible to contest objectives against him because of that soul sever. It does so much percentage damage.
Agree, definitely. And looking on the side right now, how Team RQ Hoshi, they are being pushed because of that. Hopefully, because they've already well known on the usage of Suyo, despite the fact that we are going to have a fight between the junglers and junglers, there's a possibility if they can actually hold a really good movement, because I do think that Joy on the late game is going to be tough, because Suyo wise, yes, on the early stages, if he will able to maneuver on all of the invasions, or even the struggleness or the borderlines that been put out by Hilda itself, maybe there's a possibility that Wara Kyoshi will be able to run away with this round number two.
Yeah, it's hard to say for now though. And based on game number one, it's already being seen that it's
Whether or not they've already done their draftings, and going into round number two, will it be a good case of fight between the two teams, or Kyoshi, how they go on. It was the one who actually put what we saw on the early 2 minutes, or even at the 4 minutes itself, because the fact is, Kyohoshi, they try to actually put out a really good fight, but Fnatic on it was the one who actually put out a really good aggression. But now, finally, this is round number two, guys. I'm really, really sorry again on behalf of our side, but we are now going into round number two, Kyohoshi, Indonesia versus Fnatic on it, Philippines.
Ooh, and it looks like we've already missed a good chunk of the action, actually. We are nearly
Yeah.
8 minutes into the game. The kill score currently 8-6 in favor of Fnatic Onyx, but the goal score actually not too far apart. Looks like the Brody pick was actually for real, and Kelra has been doing pretty good so far. 2-1-3 score, and ooh, very close to taking out Edog there too.
Oh, Edog, a little bit too aggression right now, but he had to pull away. But on the other side, we do see Edog trying to insert himself. That's not going to be a good overextension, but Kirk will be immediately be punished by Durin. On the side right now, we do see Kara had to pull away, but King Kong on the side will be shut down by Susujin, immediately getting 2 trades right now. And as we see it, it seems like Susujin is not done. He wants to pull another player of RRQ, but on the side of Fnatic Onyx, unfortunately, Team Fnatic Onyx, they're losing those 2 players in the process of trying to shut down Kyoshi. It's still not enough. But covering grounds on the map wise, look at this. We got 2 of the turrets already been taken out. Team Kyoshi looking better than ever.
I do wish we got to see exactly what are the moments that led up to this situation, but looks like RQ Hoshi has been able to reclaim a gold lead, and Suchijin getting another Lord. While the late game scaling between these two is not as drastically different compared to game number one, because there isn't something like a Claude to deal with, I do think that RQ still has the slightly better late game, because Brody doesn't scale quite as well, and with a Harith and Suyo, you actually have a lot of damage to deal with.
Agree, definitely. I mean, not only that, you got Rins using that Aurora as well. So Team Hoshi, they're going out for the damage itself. Now pushing it straight to Kurt immediately. Durin trying to stop his way with the power of Wilderness, but didn't manage to do so, as Kurt managed to pull away. Now the Lord will be marching into the lane to clear out the last second turret in the mid.
So far, RQ looks to be in control of this game. Fnatic Onyx, they do have tools. Valentina and Joy actually do a surprising amount of DPS once they've got a few items under their belt. But Sutsujin just finished his BOD. So being able to control the fight is very, very crucial. Briscoe going to be the only real form of setup that Fnatic Onyx can play around on that Arlet. But if the timing is incorrect, Rins, who did end up going Aurora in the end after Vexana got banned out, will be able to take over the fight.
Oh, King Kong versus Suzujin going in for the slash, but doesn't manage to get the knocks that is needed. King Kong still survive it out. Jungler versus jungler, it does seems in the favor of King Kong though, because Suzujin had so much damage, but RQ Hoshi with a really good call out respawn wise, that's the reason why King Kong had to pull away before he's been ganged out. But at the same time right here, another turret to be taken out on the second last tier. So that means it's all out to the last tier of Fnatic on it, holding on to their turrets.
Looking at the gold leaderboard right now, Susujin right at the very top with Skylar right behind him as well. King Kong not quite at level 15, so there is an EXP disparity. We can see that the rotations from RQ Hoshi are very, very controlled with this Matilda.
Oh, coming in straight away to try to go in for the power over this, but doesn't manage to take it out. Now, Duran had to pull away. So much overextension ended up having him to cause his own half line. But at the same time, right here, Zaman Force will not be able to have anyone to locked on. It's just so that to give them at least a slow down tempo coming into their own movement. But at the same time, right here, Fnatic on it, trying to find a way if they can actually pick up anyone from Arakyo Hoshi.
Yeah, looking at the itemization right now, Holy Crystal already completed on Skylar as well. This is where Harif really starts hitting like a truck and continuing to invade the jungle.
Oh, Psycho takes down Super Fritz as well. Great job coming in with that hailstorm. But at the same time, right here, FNOC had to pull away.
Yeah, things are not looking too good for Fnatic Onyx Philippines right now. Nearly a 5k disparity between them, 12 minutes in. Malefic Roar just completed on Sutsujin. And while they do have tools to maybe manage the Suyo, they're having to spend a lot of it dealing with just Dyron and Skylar, both of which have kind of get out of free jail cards because of that Matilda. The way that they're able to dance in and out of the team fights, while a little bit different from game number one, is showing some similarities. The controlled rotation, really good micro play. That is how they're coming out on top against Fnatic right now.
Agree, definitely. And taking a look on Ara Hoshi, doing a really good ground. They're looking over to the side of King Kong. E-Dog is looking for a way, but oh, they pull away instead to go in for that two-way because they are going to actually prioritize on the wave as the Lord is already marching in. And seems like King Kong gets the input. He's going to actually recall back to join into the team fight. Pushing in straight away on the top right now. Hailsong comes through, does get a hit to Kurt's side, but it's not going to be enough. The turret is coming in already. First of the trade from the mid lane is already been taken down. But on the side of Kirk, he's looking for one person to try to tag off. But it seems that Ara Kyoshi will deny it. But stun comes through, and it's going to be Super Fist to be able to take down Edo. First of all, overextension will be punished. But at this moment right now, we do see the side comes through from the side of RQ to be able to hold down that positioning. So much of the resources has been put out, but it's still not enough.
There's very, very heavy pressure on Briscoe right now. That final slash is the only real way that Fnatic can really punish RQ for being out of position. And that was one clear example of it, but they were only able to find two. That's not quite enough yet. They're going to see what more they can take by pushing down mid.
Oh, Turin will be picked up. Summerall, he had to pull away straight away, but at the same time, right here, Fnatic Onyx will be able to take down Durin even with the Kara to be pushed out. But at the same time, RQ Hoshi looking a little bit struggling right now, even though they were in the lead in the first place.
Yeah, that is the momentum that Onyx really, really needed. RQ are still fine. They still have a 5k net worth lead. That's just a momentary stopgap in their advancement. But they cannot allow that to happen a second or third time. Briscoe's positioning needs to be paid attention to, and they cannot group out right outside the base because that just sets up perfectly for a flicker final slash. Are Fnatic gonna use this opportunity to take as many structures as possible and look to regain control over the map so that they can more easily contest the next neutral objective?
Agree, definitely. 30 seconds on the clock. Lord will be spawned out, and it seems that they're trying to actually push this wave to the side of Team RQ Hoshi. Let's see if it's gonna be in their favor. Spotted out Kirk in the bushes. They will get the info they required. Not gonna allow any invasion or the movement of Team Fnatic Onyx that easily. But we do see King Kong is already right at the top, and they might actually go in for this fight. Already stacking on the Lord, waiting for the time being.
Briscoe, if he can set up a final slash into King Kong and Kelra, that is the win condition that Onyx is looking for. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a big flashy play like that either. If they can continue picking up individual members of RRQ, maybe forcing out resources early, they can still take control of this game.
Oh, but they picked up, almost able to be taken out a little bit too overextension coming in from RQ, but still they managed to actually reposition themselves. But right now, Indo try to find a way to take down Prince, but on the other side, King Kong a little bit overextension. Oh, but he managed to pull away. Even that Zaman Sabot able to take down Rusco immediately now. They're pushing it to Kara. Takes down Kara immediately by by Susujin, and that's gonna be an opening. But Super Prince tried to move away as quickly as possible, but will he be able to do so? So much damage been put out. Team RQ Kazu try to hold it out, even with the shots coming through by Scarlet. Is still not gonna be in the favor, but still, that's already the enough damage that is needed. But Kurt, all by himself, tried to clear out the wave coming into the mid lane. Not sure what is going on, but Kurt now will be joining into the team fight. He tried to finish off the mid lane, but this Lord will be able to clear out to give the opportunity for Arakiyoshi to march on again into the baseline of Fnatic Onyx.
Kirk definitely doing God's work though. That's basically the only thing that he can try to do there, slow down the middle wave. Because if he didn't manage to do that, it would have collapsed with RQ at the same time when multiple members were already taken out. And that could have actually been the end of game 2. There's no way that Kirk is going to be able to rejoin the fight after all of that. So dealing with wave management and making sure housekeeping is kept up is the best way to maintain the game state. Unfortunately, because Briscoe missed he did land the flicker final slash, but his team wasn't close enough to follow up, and that's the major thing.
Oh, but Susujin is in a very tough situation right here, but he will be able to take down by King Kong. Now, Fnatic Onyx denied immediately two of the players of RQ Hoshi as well, taking out Rins as well. Even with the Lord itself is already marching into Fnatic Onyx, they don't have enough of resources to be put out. So here on out, seems that King Kong will try to actually go in. Nope, he doesn't actually try to go into because that's not a really good position to fight out with RQ Hoshi.
A bit of a mistake by Sun Sejin there. He definitely should have left. If he was counting the timing, he would have known that the skill 2 of Joy was already back up, and a single hit would have been enough to take him out. And if he's gone, there's no way that Rins can follow up because the Aurora just has a hard time catching that Joy. If I get that they were probably trying to split push the wave and maybe hold King Kong back from rejoining his friends so that maybe the rest of RQ could push in with the Lord and end the game. But because they lost 2 members there, King Kong was able to get back. Fnatic was able to regroup, and the Lord that RQ had so painstakingly gained for themselves amounted to really no advantage on the map at all. And the longer the game goes, the more control Fnatic is able to take for themselves. This Suyo, while still able to do a lot of DPS in the last few minutes, is pretty squishy once you get to that stage, and Joy actually starts taking over with the amount of anti-CC that she can play around.
Oh, agree, definitely. And this is a crucial point coming in from RQ Hoshi. They have to time it right, gotta be careful. And it seems that Brusco is gonna try to find a way to break into the back line of RQ Hoshi, but it's gonna be Kirk, try to initiate it, but they pull away, denying any movement coming in for Fnatic. Super Prince also just overlooking from the distance, but it's gonna be Duran who try to go in for the initiation, but doesn't manage to do it. Even with the Hailstorm, denies any movement coming in from Fnatic. Try to get that info as much as possible, but Team Fnatic Onyx is all over the place.
Yeah, neither team is gonna look to commit right there. Information is the battlefield right now. As we approach the 20-minute mark, Kirk, his job is just to stand in front, provide scouting, and see where RQ is. Briscoe, despite being on an Arlet, actually wants to stand back so that he can come in at the opportunistic time to get a flicker final slash and put RQ out of position. The best case scenario, if they've already spent resources trying to dive into Fnatic Onyx. That mistake has already happened to them once. I highly doubt it'll happen again. It's gonna really come down to how well Fnatic Onyx can control the map and split apart the members so that they get a false sense of security that maybe they can start a fight.
Oh, agree, definitely. I mean, looking on the side right now, they are great in positioning wise. The RQ not allowing any of the backline comes in, even Fnatic also not giving any of the space to come through. But here on out, we do see Dirin going for initiation again. Everyone comes through. Brusco right on the pick, but doesn't manage to connect the dot as quickly as possible. And Fnatic on it pull away as quickly. And now, Team RQ Hoshi, they want to get this slot immediately done.
They're gonna try and control the Lord Pit right now. Fnatic Onyx right on the edge, and the fight starts again.
The fight starts again. Kara will be picked out immediately by Darren. By the same time, that Zaman Force will deny it of the movement, but he'll be able to take down Brusco as well, pushing into King Kong. Darren going in for the power for the fight off the side of King Kong, but doesn't manage to push through. But Super Friends, Bring Back Take Out, Overextension come through, but Susujin will be able to take down by King Kong. But now, Team RQ, they want more. They're going to try to push into Super Friends. Going in with the Hailstorm, doesn't connect the dot. Skyler try to push away, slowing it down for the movement. Hailstorm again, and managed to take down Super Friends immediately, and now leaving two more plays to go. King Kong right in the open. They're looking for a way. Tyrion try to slow him down. Goes in for the slash. Doesn't manage to slow him down. And Team RQ Hoshi just try to do as much damage as they could. But they want to finish this off already. Kurt comes in the fight. In between. He tried to survive it up. But Riz takes him down. And now one more play to go. Goes in for the team wiped out. And this is the end as RQ Hoshi wins the series with 2-0.
Such a good example of taking advantage of opportunities right in front of you. While Fnatic Onyx was doing their best to hold their position to maybe steal away some resources, RQ was able to identify that, hey, they are actually split up looking for an